Alright, Hercules here again. So, I want to talk in this video about early ganks. I want to talk about how to avoid them while not giving up massive amounts of farm. Because a lot of people, they avoid early ganks just by hugging their tower, and then they lose mid game because they don't have any farm. So let's watch a series of unfortunate events that occurs in top lane with Gladiator. Okay, so this is, he's getting a little bit of free farm because there's a 0 mana Voodoo Jester because Predator had to TP back after Witch Slayer almost killed him. Okay, but look at that. Okay, so he just tanked 2 tower hits. Why did he tank these 2 tower hits, by the way? Let's just let's really get in depth and say why did he tank these 2 tower hits? Because he shouldn't. But he's denying his creeps early, and he's not hitting that, so he doesn't have the creep protection anymore. So now he wants to go last hit this Warlock, and he has to be in tower range while none of his creeps are in tower range to do that. So that was a minor mistake. The minor mistake was he denied his own creeps too early. He should have kept them around for protection so that he could, if he really wants to last hit that archer. That's a minor mistake. But watch how this minor mistake snowballs. Okay, so he's making another mistake right now. Because look at this. Full hit point Predator. He's got mana for Venomous Sleep and Stonehide. And by the way, I don't care if you've never played Predator. You see him at full mana, at full health. You know he's looking to leap you. This is a mistake very commonly made at low MR is you don't get inside the head of your opponent and think about what spells do they want to cast on me? What do they want to do to me? Can I do anything about it? Because, watch. Okay, look at this creep. This creep is the inspiration for what's about to happen. Because Gladiator, it looks like, I think he wants to hatchet it or something. No, Hatchet wasn't on cooldown, and he didn't actually even have time to go up to the creep. But now look. Now he's getting pretty close to Predator. And so now, Predator's coming towards him, and he gets slept. He's dead now. There's not a single thing he can do. By the way, Predator being smart here, not using his Stonehide until he sees Gladiator use Pitfall. So he's dead now. There's nothing he can do. And the reason, by the way, one of the reasons he's dead, Predator has boots. Gladiator, he does not have boots. He has, I believe he has a life tube. Yeah, he's got a life tube. Okay. So, early death. These are really painful. They hurt your farm. They hurt your levels. They make mid-game a lot harder. How could he have avoided this? He could have not made that mistake that cost him 2 tower hits there. And once he did, once he's in... Let me skip to it. Once he's in this position, if you're at this low health, you cannot get in range of any disable. It doesn't matter what the disable is. If you're at this low health and you get disabled and there are people near you, you're going to die. And there are a lot of disables in this lane, though he has no mana, so he's not going to cast one. But Predator's slow is enough. Okay. So let's talk about another early death that occurs. Let's talk about... you guys can see what's about to happen here, too. It's when you have no Fog of War on, it's pretty obvious what's about to happen. There's a double damage Invisible Fade, and there's a level 5 Flint Beastwood with 560 hit points. So he's just going to get bursted down and instantly killed. And there are 2 reasons why he died. He died because he had 500 hit points, and he died because Fade had a double damage root. So why does he have 500 hit points? Well, because he has 11 creep kills. If he had more than 11 creep kills, what he could do is you could buy the strength part of Steam Boots, or if you had even more than that, maybe he was doing really well, you could buy Steam Boots, but that's a lot. But so if he had been last hitting a little bit better, he'd have a few more hit points. But let's talk about the other aspect of that gank. Let's talk about the fact that Fade has a double damage rune. This is really embarrassing for Flint Beastwood that Fade has a double damage rune. And why? Look at this. Rune Ward from Brown, who is Midas, so that's Flint Beastwood's Rune Ward. No Fade Rune Ward in sight here. No Fade... Okay, so Fade does not have a Rune Ward, and Flint Beastwood does. If I'm mid and I have a Rune Ward, and my opponent does not, I'm going to get every rune, and I'll show you how. It's really easy. This is the easiest thing to do, to get every rune when you have vision of the rune, and they don't. Because all you have to do is nuke the creeps. Because think about it. Think about the scenario. Think about if instead of the creep wave were here, let's say all the Hellborn creeps were standing around here, and all the Legion creeps were dead. Just in theory, a couple things would have had to happen for that earlier, but let's say that Flint Beastwood, he's used his flare to kill a bunch of creeps, and then he's auto-attacked them. and he's gotten the creep wave up here, and there are no Legion creeps alive. And let's say that it's let's say he did this at 355. By the way, she actually got a haste rune first, which is how she got a double damage rune. So we can look at 155. It's the same scenario. The reason she got that double damage rune is because she got the haste rune. So let's talk about how she got the haste rune. Okay, so the creeps are in the middle. What Flint Beastwood should do right now is he should flare the creep waves. And the rune word, it hasn't been placed yet. Midas actually, I think he couriers it in and places it in 30 seconds. But even if you don't see the rune, you should push the creeps to their tower so they can't get the rune. And let me explain. If the creeps were at their tower, if you were to flare these and auto-attack them, and there are a bunch of Hellborn creeps here and no Legion creeps, if you're Fade, where do you stand? Do you stand right here? No, you can't stand right here. Because creeps prioritize heroes over towers. So if you're standing right here, and the enemy creeps are not going to charge towards the enemy tower. They're going to charge towards you, and they're going to start hitting you. And you have to retreat. Because as we saw in the top lane in a previous video, and we can see it right now, these creeps deal a lot of damage. So what you do is you push the creep wave, you kill all the enemy creeps before the rune spawns, and then your opponent can't follow you to the rune. Because if your opponent follows you to the rune, there's going to be this conga line of your creeps following her, and you use any disable on your opponent. Every good mid hero has at least one disable, almost, exception of Soul Stealer. But you use any disable on them, or you just start hitting them, and they cannot plant their feet and attack you, or they take massive damage. And look at this. So Midas, neither of them are pushing the creep wave really at all. It's not that one of them is trying to push and the other is stopping them. They're not doing it. So Midas is pointing out to Flint where the rune is, and he's just not taking it. And then Fade gets the rune. Fade gets the haste rune, which gets her the double damage rune. Gets her bottle charges, gets her unlimited mana to harass Flint Beastwood, and then Flint Beastwood dies at level 5 because Fade had this double damage, and there's nothing you can do at that point. Okay, so let's talk about one more early gank that happens. I have time for one more. And so, looks like Witch Slayer, he's mad at Gladiator. He's already started to trash talk. 5 minutes into the game, that's never a good idea. If you trash talk, by the way, you can't... It's your fault if your team doesn't have good teamwork after you've been trash talking. Because that's the result of trash talk. Anyway, so here's mistake number 1. I'm not gonna dwell on the emotional aspects. I want to talk about the technical aspects. Okay, he just TP'd in full vision of Pharaoh. If Pharaoh's good, Pharaoh has a 0% chance of dying to this. Because Pharaoh knows what's coming. He knows Legionnaire's jungling. Legionnaire's gotten a kill already, by the way. I didn't show it, but he did. So he knows Legionnaire's willing to gank. He has pretty good information about what's about to occur. And by the way, there's a ward here. This is a very common ward to place. Pharaoh, he's got a ward there, so he's going to see Legionnaire if Legionnaire comes up through here. So let's watch. And I don't know why the hell Midas is right there, but oh well. Okay. So Pharaoh has 100% information about what's going on. He even knows Legionnaire's in the area. Okay, so all he has to do is play conservatively. By the way, if the lane was up here, if Midas hadn't been auto-attacking, this gank would not be an issue. The gank that's about to happen would never happen if the creeps were fighting right here. And there's no reason for a 2v1 lane to not be controlling the creep wave. Okay. So the creep wave's over here. Witch Slayer's pushing it for some reason. That's bad. Don't do that. Okay, Legionnaire's sneaking through here. And let's just watch. So as soon as you see the jungler coming, you should run away, because you know it's going to be a 3-on-2, and it's a 3-on-2 with 2 heroes who are not strong early on. Like if this was a Voodoo Jester, this would not be as scary. But this is a hero with no stuns and no slows. All he can do is escape himself. And like Pharaoh knows this, and Pharaoh he stays deep in the lane. And the exact moment where he seals his fate, by the way, the exact decision he makes to seal his fate, it's going to happen right here. He goes in for the deny. And he knows Witch Slayer's here. He knows a gank is about to happen, but he's still playing aggressively. He's still trying to get every last creep deny, and that cost him his life. Because if he hadn't gotten the deny, he would have been way further away when Legionnaire came out of the jungle. Like if he stands right here and then retreats when he sees Legionnaire right here, he's not here. He's here. He's in front of Midas. Look at that. So he's here. He runs away. He doesn't get taunted. He doesn't die. But you can't play greedy when you know there's a gank coming, and he had every reason to believe it. But he cut corners. So the mistakes you want to avoid, the mistakes we've seen here are, lack of rune control from Flint, and just not anticipating what your opponents are going to try to do to you. You always have to be anticipating what your opponents are going to try to do to you. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you learned something, and I hope you don't die to the obvious ganks that we see here anymore. I hope you can avoid these in the future.